that's what's coming right now. AI is that's an interesting topic too.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
how AI and is not natural. It could be used as a tool to help people, but like there's a point, I mean, obviously God's intent is not for AI to kind of control and run the world and things like that, because there's no human, connection or emotion. So it's just like, it's gonna be interesting, man. What's your take on it though? Just like in general, like.
I think that where we're at right now is really exciting, but I think it can get scary really fast. So I'm well aware that we're playing with fire in a sense. But I'm still messing with the two.
Well, yeah. I think it's gonna be awesome. Like I said, like a tool, somebody like to help you in your business or to help like make things efficient and get things done like that. But other than that, it just people could also lean too much to it.
Yeah, they definitely are, especially the students.
Right.
Yeah, my wife works at a high school, and some of these kids, they don't know their social, they don't know their home address. They rely so much on technology. It's crazy.
Dude, I've heard the schools, man, like the education system is just not. What grade is she? What level does she at?
High school.
Oh, high school?
Yeah.
Okay. And even then.
Yeah, you would think it's elementary school.
Right. That's, sheesh. Yeah. So it's failing us big time, man.
But the beautiful part is if we use it right, it can help us in such a dramatic way.
Yeah.
Like these local businesses, they have an underdog advantage that big corporations don't have. They can utilize AI in a way that big corporations can't.
Right.
Because big corporations need employees. They need certain aspects to keep running.
Right.
Smaller corporations don't necessarily need to lean on their employees as much. They can lean more on AI and they can automate all their systems.
Very true. And then that's another thing, like it could just really, not people can take away jobs, unfortunately. That's the thing though, if it starts taking away people's jobs and people with opportunity given place to, to work and things like that, that can be the down part of it. But at the same time, it's just going to take that people are going to have to learn how to use it and hire people that can run the AI for the company. So I think that's where the future's at.
And I think that's where it's at. If you work for a place and you're fearful AI is going to take your job, become the one that can manage the AI.
That's it. That's it. And not be afraid of it. Because a lot of guys like get older and they just kind of like, they don't want to learn. They don't want to change, right? They want to stuck in their old ways and they're like, nah, they don't want to use AI. They think it's, it doesn't help or doesn't work, but man, you can't be left behind in this world, bro. It's easy to get left behind.
Really easy.
You know what I mean? If you're not keeping up with what's going on and things like that. Talk about your business a little bit, man. We got David Ramirez here with us. So talk about your journey, what you're doing now, how it started. Let's get into it.
My business, the name of my business is Cali Thorn.
Okay.
Cali as in California, Thorn as in a rosebush thorn. So the whole point of it is we're trying to provide value for locally owned businesses, small to medium-sized businesses, to be able to compete with big corporations because the small businesses, they are the ones protecting this beautiful state of ours.
Right.
So this flower, this California state is being protected by these little thorns that are going throughout the state, from the small little towns to bigger cities like Fresno, LA.
Right.
But the mom and pop shops, that's where the backbone is. Once they fail, our state crumbles.
Right.
So our job is to be able to meet with local businesses, provide value to them to help them not only compete with big corporations, but thrive within their industry.
Gotcha. What aspect do you guys help them compete though? Like, give me some examples. What do you guys kind of do?
So we were talking about AI earlier.
Right.
So we have a lot of options for local businesses where we can help them to automate their entire back work. So all the busy work that business owners are doing right now, we can build systems for them that will help them automate everything through AI. Wow. We can help them automate their AP as well. We can help them automate their employees, the way that they're paid, the benefits, all the packages that go along with it. We can help them with their merchant provider, either to get a better rate or to completely eliminate processing fees 100%.
Wow.
So many different tools and resources that we offer for local businesses.
Yeah.
A really cool one, Rich, that I want to talk to you about. We're actually launching a publication in Old Fig Garden where we're leaning maybe in about 2 months. We're going to have it up and running. But the whole purpose of the publication is to be able to bring local businesses into the homes of some of the most affluent families in Fresno.
Nice.
To be able to build that brand
exposure,
recognition,
things like that,
exposure,
right?
top of mind brand awareness. when you see a billboard in the street is one thing, but when you see a brand in your home every single day, it changes the way you think about this brand.
That does. That's powerful stuff, and I love that because especially where the economy is now, man. I mean, the uncertainty level, and it's just no one's really spending, making big purchases. A report came out earlier this week that the level of uncertainty and the way everyone feels in the market right now is kind of compared to that of March of 2020.
That's terrifying.
That's the consumer confidence level is the March of 2020. We all know March 2020 when COVID broke out, nobody was doing anything. Everybody froze. People were afraid to spend money or do anything, and that's kind of where we're at right now. So, people, things like you're doing, and businesses like that are helping these small businesses through these challenging times. That's a blessing, man. That's what's needed, and we could do a lot of good. Because they're only limited. Small businesses, they don't have huge budgets and things like that, and they're not. They're not on the stock market. You can't buy, things like that. So they're private owned and locally owned, and we want to keep our local businesses here, man. I mean, and support them. So
not just kicking, but thriving.
Right. Like not just getting by. Just you want these people to be successful and live well because they are here and they're looking out for us just as well as we should help look out for them. And help build our economy here locally. Man, so you've been on a couple different like entrepreneurial missions, over the years. How did you end up coming to this? And you've been with this company how long? How long have you been doing this?
This is my company.
This is your own company, gotcha.
But what I do is I partner with industry leaders. So all the back end work is done by companies that are leading within their industry.
Got it.
So they're award-winning, nationally recognized companies. They do work throughout the entire United States. My job is almost as a middleman to help the local business understand that there is a gap, there is a problem.
Right.
And we have the solution. We have the partners. We have the tools.
Sure. Okay, so you have a lot of networks. You got people that you can connect people to. Man, that's awesome. And I mean, what made you think of starting a business like this? Like, is it something you've always kind of been passionate about? And I know you got that helpful spirit inside you, but what was it that led you to like, I gotta start something that I'm gonna go out and help these smaller businesses locally?
Originally, it was God. It was nothing else but God, man. 2017, I hit Blackstone with my video camera, just walking up and down the businesses, just trying to provide value. I wasn't trying to sell nothing. I was trying to give them a little of exposure. As I was doing it, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, God, you got me out here doing this. I'm not making no money, God. I got a family to feed,
Sure.
And that lasted a couple of weeks. It wasn't sustainable, of course. Went back to work, and then that's when COVID hit. So I was let go. Once I was let go because of COVID, I made a vow to myself, this will never happen again.
Gotcha.
I will never rely my faith on somebody else. So I began to learn sales. I began to learn marketing. I began to learn branding and just trying to provide value for these businesses. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking the knowledge that I was able to accumulate over the years, and I'm doing a YouTube series on Kelly Thorne on YouTube.
Well, let's shout it out right now. How can people find the YouTube page?
So you can go to YouTube and type in Kelly Thorne Guide.
Kelly Thorne Guide?
Yeah, okay. Kelly Thorne Guide. And on there, what I do is I teach people how to create a brand strategy from start to finish. Now, I'm not an expert. This is simply for entertainment purposes. So once you can, my job is to spark something.
Sure.
Once these local businesses can get an idea, that makes sense. Then they can go and they can hire somebody that can build it for them. Because when I was studying these big corporations, one thing that I learned is that there's one big differentiator that differentiates big corporations from smaller to medium-sized businesses. Every single big corporation has a brand strategy in place. Now, having a brand strategy will not make your brand successful, but every successful brand does have one.
Gotcha. So let's backtrack a little bit because this is very inspiring and motivating for a lot of people that want to start a business, right? And you said after COVID, you're laid off, and so you just started studying sales and marketing and communication. Give us some little tips and things you actually did, so that way it can help someone else out there if they're like, how do I do that? Where do I find the information? What are some of the things you did to educate yourself?
The first thing was read.
Any books you wanted that you could think of you want to recommend?
The main book that I love has nothing to do with sales or branding.
It's Mindset.
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Oh, there you go. That's a great book.
I love Rich Dad Poor Dad. It was able to get me thinking a different way. I grew up with 2 immigrant parents. So we grew up believing we never had enough. We had to save, save, save.
Right.
I never understood anything about investments. I never understood the importance of residual income.
Sure.
And once I started reading Robert Kiyosaki's words, I was like, why wasn't nobody teaching me this?
We were taught wrong. And man, that's a tough way to grow up with immigrant parents. But honestly, probably 95% of American households in general, especially the older generation, like my generation and maybe a little older, like our parents didn't know much about investing and how money works, how credit works, and leverage, and none of that stuff, right? It was all, like you said, the mentality was, go to school, get a job, and save, and spend a little bit, maybe go on a vacation for, a few days out the year if you have extra money, but nothing much more than that. And as even life insurance, how powerful that could be. Like my parents didn't know anything about life insurance, So as most parents out there didn't know, and that can create the generational wealth as well. I mean, God forbid someone passes away, but we're all going to pass away anyway, for sure. Why not leave the family, 6 figures, 7 figures, to have them kind of stay, get things on track and help them build their wealth and continue it on generation to generation. Unfortunately, school systems haven't taught us anything about it, and our parents didn't have the knowledge. So it's like, But now, I mean, in this generation, is a little bit it's less excuses for kids because the information is everywhere, right? You can just Google, right? We didn't have that back in the day, back in the old times,
But we got stripped of all excuses. There's no more excuses.
Right, exactly. So information is so easy and easily accessible. I'm sure that's part of how you educated yourself on everything, right?
Yeah.
You want to talk more about that?
A lot of courses, a lot of YouTube videos. Grant Cardone, Dean Graziosi, obviously Robert Kiyosaki, Jeremy Minor is a huge influence as well.
Okay.
A lot of these guys, man, they give away so much knowledge for free. Right. Alex Hormozi talks a lot about that as well, giving away the cow in a sense. Just giving value and giving more value. So that's my goal. Not only will giving value help local businesses, but I believe that's what God put me here to do. God didn't put me here to be able to sell everything to everybody and make $1 million a year.
Sure.
God put me here to add value. And when the resources, the finances come, that's God's blessings.
There you go.
But my job is to give. The more that I can absorb, the more that I can give.
Yeah, 100%. And I forgot to mention that he's my Christian brother right here. And so we'll talk about that in the journey and everything. But that is so true, man. We got to understand our purpose, and a lot of our life is finding that purpose of what we're here to do.
Yeah.
And once we figure out what that is and we're yielded to God, He'll start putting the desires in our heart and our mind of what we should be doing. And, there's no better partner on any business venture but God, right? Because if He's the foundation of what you're starting, it's going to 10, 20, 100, 1,000x the business and the growth. So as long as your heart's right, you're doing it for the right reason, bro, it's gonna skyrocket. So, and it's so amazing. So that was it. Earlier, we kind of were discussing how you were kind of saying that sometimes you feel as if maybe you're not doing it for the right reasons, right? And I'm sure we all struggle with this sometimes at some point of the journey. Maybe talk about that a little bit, and maybe a little bit about your journey to Christ, and then how now starting business is kind of conflicting.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard because I didn't graduate high school. I don't have a high school diploma.
Really?
I was born and raised in Southwest Fresno.
Okay.
I got expelled from my main high school, which was Edison. I went to a continuation school.
Go Tigers, huh?
Go Tigers. Yeah, I went to a continuation school. They decided I wasn't a good fit as well. They also let me go.
Wow. Were you a pretty bad kid, a knucklehead?
I was pretty bad, yeah. I got into a lot of trouble. There was a lot of stuff going on. And, it's not the best environment to be around when you have a lot of stuff going on as a kid.
Sure.
So I got in with the wrong crowds, got into the wrong stuff. I was never in school. So when I left school and went into the real world, into adulthood, I was reading at a 5th grade reading level. I couldn't type. I couldn't use a computer. I had to teach myself how to read a book, how to type on a computer. So it was a struggle from the beginning. But once I got into it, I was also an atheist. I believe that if God was real, I wouldn't be going through what I went through. So I was an atheist and an alcoholic since I was in fifth grade. I started drinking in fifth grade, and I stopped drinking when I was.
How do you even find alcohol? Like, where are you getting it?
My dad was also an alcoholic, so there was always a endless tap available that if a couple beers were missing, he wouldn't have noticed.
Wow, that's you got a great testimony. Go ahead.
So I got into adulthood. I was doing really good for myself. I was really good at, I don't know if I should say this on camera, but I was really good at conning people, at making people buy stuff that wasn't good for them. And I wasn't a good person.
Yeah.
I found Christ when I was 27. That's when I decided I got to stop drinking. I did not stop drinking, but I made that conscious decision that I wanted to. And I started to flip my life around. I started to turn everything around. I completely gave up drinking at 32, so it took me 5 years to completely stop. And when I gave up drinking, something changed. I got so convicted. I couldn't do sales no more because I used to do sales and I was really good at sales. But I just felt so convicted. Every time I tried to sell somebody something, even if I knew it benefited them and it was so valuable to them, I felt that tugging that I was harming them, that I was just, not giving them value pretty much. So that became a huge struggle, and I feel like I still carry some of that with me to this day. I feel like I'm not the right person for the job, even though God tells us, God's going to call the qualified. He's not going to, or call the unqualified, sorry.
Right.
And I feel like that's the biggest reason why I am here, is because I am probably the most unqualified to do what I am here to do.
That's a beautiful story, man. I mean, the Bible shows how many supposedly unqualified guys end up being apostles and disciples of Christ and speaking the word. So, I mean, look at Paul, for instance. It's just one example out of the Bible, how he started killing Christians and eventually was, spreading the word, spreading the gospel all through. So this is just what he does. He takes people that are broken and uses them. And you just got to be willing and yield it. You just got to be willing to do it, and your heart's got to be right. And he'll use you, man, for whatever it is, your purpose. That's amazing. So, wow, I didn't know all of that, man. That's man. So you got, like I said, that's so inspirational because from where you started to where you are now, man.
Yeah.
And so from the time you started turning things around, did you become active in church more? And how did you end up at Adventure Church, since we end up at the same church?
That's a really long story.
Go ahead.
So when I was still in my drinking days, I was a salesman. One night, believe it or not, I got really drunk. And I decided to drive home. I ended up getting pulled over. I got arrested. I got a DUI, lost my license. Because I lost my license, I lost my sales job because my job needed me to drive up and down California. So no more license, no more job. I was unemployed. My wife and I, we had a lease on an apartment. We lost that because she wasn't working. She was going to school. Mm-hmm. She was going to state at the time. I ended up losing the apartment. My aunt, gracefully, she had an extra room that she spared to us, and she allowed us to move in with them. They lived in Fowler. In Fowler, there was a church, or there is a church on Manning and Golden State called Worship Center.
Okay.
And at this point, I was an atheist. I did not believe in God. I had so much anger in my heart towards a higher being.
Right.
And I kept driving past this church, and finally I told my wife, let's go check out this church. And she was shocked. She was like, you are asking me to go to church?
Did something just told you, to go check it out?
I just felt it, yeah. And we ended up going. And from that point on, we decided, let's keep coming back. And at that point, my niece,
was your wife a believer? Or no?
She was.
She was a believer.
Since she was a child.
Okay.
And she would always bug me to go to church. She would nag me, let's go to church, let's go to church. And it was to the point, Rich, where she would play Christian music and it would make me angry. I would get mad. Turn that off.
Spirit's getting convicted.
I used to hate listening to worship music when she would play it. So we started going to this church. My niece, she was young at the time, maybe 9 or 10. We started picking her up from her house and bringing her to church, and she became the main reason why we kept going. Because there was Sundays where I was like, I don't want to go to church today. Mm-hmm. And my niece would call, are you guys going to come pick me up?
Ooh.
So we started going to church every Sunday because she wanted to go every Sunday. And it went from there. From that point, we ended up moving from Fowler to Fresno. We needed to find a new church. And it's funny because there was a lot of picketing and stuff going on with Adventure Church.
In 2020, huh?
So I saw Adventure Church on the news.
Yeah.
And I've always been the kind of person that wants to run into a fire. So I told my wife, hey, I saw this church on the news. let's go check it out.
That's the one for you, right?
Yeah.
It's chaos
and
right
she
now.
was
Let's
like,
go.
no, I don't want to. And I was like, let's go see.
Yeah.
And we went to Adventure to check out what all the fuss was about, and that's home now.
Wow, man, and I bet it was like my first time at Adventure, it was just so welcoming. I've never experienced a church like that. I don't know if you had the same experience, but as soon as you walk in, everyone's like breaking their necks to try to greet you and, welcome you there and just say, how you doing and speak to you. It was just, man, it just felt
But
so
the beautiful thing is that it's not too welcoming, because I've been to some churches that are,
it wasn't over.
Can you please get off me?
Okay. Right. Exactly. No, it was like perfect though. You just felt like home. You felt
like you're walking into the barbecue or something with your family.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like everybody was just cool and family and cool. So it was just so easy at ease and peaceful. But so you've been there for about 5 years then? Huh?
Yeah.
Actively, yeah. And we and the Bible studies on Tuesday nights are awesome. I know you're there quite often and stuff like that. So fast forward to back what we were saying. So do you still feel that way when you're doing your business? At times, does that thought come in to where, man, am I doing the right thing for the right reasons or not? Is that you still get those thoughts?
I don't get those thoughts specifically because I know where my heart's at now.
Yeah.
The thoughts that I get now is, am I the right one? Am I qualified enough to help this person? Am I taking somebody else's skills that they can utilize to help them? Are they more qualified than I am? And those are the thoughts that I battle with now.
Yeah. Like I said, just put it on God. If God's behind you, man, if you're doing right, you're living righteous, you're living the way you're supposed to live, He's gonna back you 1,000%. And I know there's a lot of doubt that comes in, but we got to understand, like, whatever's for God is going to be amazing. And He's only going to give us so much, and He's going to build us up and prepare us for the assignment at hand, right? So if we're working for His kingdom, He's going to make His workers, be ready and prepared for any venture they go through. So and it just goes really back to, like, the hardest part is just letting go of control. So for all our lives, we're used to controlling everything. We're thinking we're going, or planning something like we're going to do this. And then if it doesn't go right, we get discouraged and things like that. But the hardest part is just letting go and just saying, hey, whatever you want me to do, God, however this turns out, I'm counting on you. I'm leaving it up to you. And I'm just here kind of for the ride, in a sense. And and that's the hardest part, I think, because we have to understand and let go. So. But yeah, you just keep pressing on, man. It's going to definitely work out, man. And I love what you're doing, just helping out these businesses. So, so how long has the business been up and running so far? How long have you been going for?
So we've been up and running since COVID.
Oh, so for the 5 years?
Yeah,
okay.
That's when we got up and running.
I thought you had started a new business too.
Yeah, recently we added to what we were already doing.
Got it.
So what we were doing was the marketing, the branding, brand strategy, stuff like that. What we've added was the brand awareness, brand reputation, the automated systems, the
paid more hands-on. We're inside of their business.
Yeah. So the goal is to be able to help businesses strengthen their foundation, because we can help spread their name all over the place. But if their foundation is weak, a business will crumble.
Their processes and the way they, generate new clients and keep clients.
How much they're paying out to these big corporations. So we have a lot of tools and resources to help them not just find something better, something new, but help them automate what they're already doing or help them save money in where they're already at.
Oh, that's amazing. That's awesome, man. Yeah, man. And that's a blessing, man. And because I know quite a few business owners, and people would be surprised how a lot of businesses need help. They're not doing as well as it looks like. I remember before I got into business, I used to just think pretty much anybody with a business was rich or had money, and they were just living the life. But then when you really understand it and get behind the scenes, you realize, wow, it's not as glorious as you think, and a lot of times it's just little things like little tweaking, little this, little that, that's just overlooked, that they need to kind of refocus and get them back.
Or even free up your time. As a business owner, you're very busy.
Right.
If we can automate some of your busy work, give you that time to focus on what really matters, that alone can help your business bloom. Very true.
So automation as well. Now AI, like we had talked about earlier, I mean, figure how incorporate that. And Make it grow.
And that's what we have to do is utilize AI to our advantage.
That's it.
Instead of just sitting back and watching big corporations do it, we can do it too. We have that underdog advantage. We can do stuff that they can't do.
There you go. One more time, tell everyone how to reach you just before we go on. Just that,
Yes.
someone's listening, they want to call you right now or contact
So you can find me on LinkedIn. My name is David Ramirez, or you can find me on YouTube or Instagram at Cali Thorn Guide. Once again, that's YouTube or Instagram at Cali Thorn Guide.
So could you spell out the?
Yeah. So Cali, like California, CALI, Thorn, THORN, as the actual thorn, Guide, GUIDE. Cali Thorn Guide.
Cali Thorn Guide, guys. There you go, man. Appreciate you, David. Before we go, man, there's a couple things I gotta do. Right now, I'm giving everybody a free copy of a book I just published, man. Downloads from God, and just a book of a bunch of quotes I came up with over the years, and inspired by God, and I just definitely good for you to have, and good, quick, easy read, and for kids as well, man. And I'll sign it as well.
This is awesome, Rich. I saw when you posted your book that you had just published it, and I was so excited to get my hands on it, man. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
My pleasure, man. Just tell everybody who, I just want people to have the inspiration, and hopefully it helps them. They might turn to one quote one day, and that gets them through whatever they're going through.
Yeah.
So that's the idea behind it, man.
What I'm thinking is I'm gonna leave this book in my car. So whenever I pull to a business and I need that quick burst of motivation,
get it in there. There you go.
Let's see what God has to speak to me.
That's it. Whatever pages it lands on, that's the word you're supposed to read. That's beautiful. Before we go, too, we did talk about music, right? Like how you used to do some hip hop, and I did too. So we got that similar background. And shout out to my boy Brian Lawson, because he is a very Christian brother that really loves music and very passionate about starting Christian music, Christian hip hop. Is that something in the future you're thinking about pursuing more of?
100%. Yeah. When I did music, it was all worldly music. Mm-hmm. I have never done anything Christian ever till this day.
Wow.
There's a couple of men from the church, from Adventure Church. We're actually going to start getting together and just to see where God takes it. There's nothing planned yet, but who knows what God has planned.
Hey, man, these guys going to shoot to the sky, man, through the sky. Let's keep going, man. And then hopefully one Sunday or one Tuesday night, we'll see you on stage and you'll be, doing your music, and, that'd be cool, man.
Yeah, some hip-hop worship.
There you go. One thing we always typically do, we end like this. We always like to ask every guest, who is your top 3 hip-hop artists, dead or alive? It doesn't have to be in order.
Ooh.
Top 3.
Top 3.
Dead or alive, all time.
I would start with DMX.
Okay.
I'm a storyteller. I love the way he tells stories. I've tried to write the way he does, and it's not as easy as it sounds.
Oh, no, you can tell. Yeah, he's really deep. It's just, it's complicated.
So I would say DMX, Eminem, and one that'll probably piss people off is Kanye West.
No, he's solid. Those are great. Those are great. Those are legends right there. In their own right. Definitely, man. That's a good list, man.
What about you, Rich?
Mine fluctuates a lot.
Yeah.
And I haven't answered this question in so long, man. I don't know, man. It's so many, man. Like I always loved Tupac. Was my favorite all time. Now of the new day and age, what I'm listening to a lot is La Russell. Not sure if you know who La Russell is. Okay. Out of Vallejo, but he has that same energy and spirit, kind of reminding us of a Tupac.
Really?
Just his passion and everything he talks about. Check him out. He says some.
I'm gonna look him up. I'm not familiar with him, but I will look him up.
Yeah, really good stuff. Real powerful stuff. Also, the third, I'm gonna say something that's just gonna throw people off. That I don't say much in my top 3, but at one point he was like my favorite rapper for a while. Twista.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, Twista. When he Twista came. He started back way in like the late '80s, early '90s. Then he reinvented himself, and he came back out like in the mid to late '90s again, and early 2000s, and then with Kanye, and then he can reinvent himself. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. I've never heard nobody throw out Twister before.
You don't hear it, right? But it's so skilled. I mean, how many people can rap like that, right? And stay on time, and it's clear. It's just
I have hard enough time talking.
Right. Yeah. So that's skills right there, man.
It is. It really is.
He has great flows, but there's so many good artists out there, man. And well, you keep doing what you're doing, man. I appreciate you, man.
Likewise,
God is with
Rich.
you, my man. And man, you guys check out David Ramirez, man.
Yes, Cali Thorn Guide.
Cali Thorn Guide. Wow. Woo.
That was good, man. That was solid.
That was a good one. Good